I'm excited for this show tonight. We have a real, raw, and live personal development expert in the house. And we're going to, as always, we are going to bring them behind that black curtain. My name is Davette. Now, obviously, my name is Dave. See, if I was a chick, my name would be Davette. That's interesting, right? Her name is Davette, and we are gonna. I want you to share with everyone where this all started. Where are you from? Where were you born and raised?
Okay, awesome. First, let me say I'm supposed to be a David.
Okay.
Okay.
My
dad's name is David. I'm supposed to be a David. I'm glad to be a David.
Really? All right.
But I was born and raised in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Okay.
And only child, loner. Loved being alone. Loved having my books and my space. Very close to my cousins, so I had my brothers and sisters that got to come and play and then go home.
Right.
So that was kind of cool.
Right.
But I love them. I love you guys very much.
But you love the alone time.
I do, and I did, and I do. So
okay.
I grew up in this really big house in Taylor Ranch, which is in Albuquerque, and I had this walk-in closet, and I had all my books in there.
Okay.
And I would go and I would check out in there, and I would be in there for hours. I'd be so fascinated about, from Dr. Seuss to Garfield. I'd be in there laughing.
Really?
I mean, if you probably passed by my room, you'd be laughing and be like, she's so
Just
cute.
as a little girl.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'd have books on like planets and just so I was just so intrigued by so much, and I loved learning, and I really loved my space. I used to spend a lot of time in my backyard sleeping outside and just looking at the stars and stuff. So, there was that curious really thing about me growing up, and which is kind of funny. Then, when I went to elementary school, middle school, I went to a Christian middle school, and I got in trouble one time because I went to the library and I checked out a book on hypnosis. I wanted to hypnotize my friends.
And they didn't like that.
Well, they didn't know. They were kind of like that. You shouldn't kind of be messing with that and stuff. So I was like, okay, but I want to hypnotize my friends. So I had to turn the book back in or whatever. And I think it started there.
Okay.
So I'm just like, well, what does that do? Like, what can I make them do? Like, what is this?
It just intrigued you.
I was so intrigued. And then, went to high school and stuff. I ended up, I got pregnant at 18. Mm-hmm. And I had my first daughter, Andrea, and then I got, stayed with her father, got pregnant again at 23, and then we got married.
So how was school for you? Did you like it? Did you enjoy it? Because you loved learning, but was it more on your terms? Or did you like school? Did you enjoy school?
I did not like school.
Okay. Me neither.
But I did love learning.
Right. On your terms.
On my terms. And I was very curious. I was hungry for knowledge. Mm-hmm. But I guess maybe their way of teaching didn't really fit my way of learning. And it's so funny because even then, I hated science. Mm-hmm. And now I'm so, fascinated.
It's interesting because we're a lot alike in that regard and I was just telling Tiffany this last night when we were talking after the show, that I'm actually a really regimented guy. But it has to be under my terms. Yeah. And the same thing, when I get introduced to personal development, I still to this day, I can't get enough of it. Yeah. But it's on my terms, but school never kept my attention. And that's interesting. Same with you?
It did not keep my attention. In fact, I dreaded it. Mm-hmm. And maybe because there was just so much going on and there was so much pressure, and you gotta be cool, but you just, you're weird, and it was just, I was glad to be out of it. I did not miss it.
No.
At all. I did not miss it. However, I'm still to this day, I'm addicted to learning. And if you walk into my home, I have a library in my home.
Right.
I have a mess of books everywhere, piles and notes and all these things. And I'm just like, if I'm out on a walk or I'm working out, I'm listening to a book on CD, but it's educational stuff.
Yes.
Things that I'm going to learn
constantly feeding. Yeah. And that's interesting. We have a lot in common in that regard because I'm on the road a lot. So I kind of use that as my university on wheels, and I'm constantly feeding my mind with whatever I'm interested in at that moment, and constantly. So I get it. Yeah. I get it. And it's I wasn't an only child, but I was the youngest, and my brother was 10 years older, my sister was 5, so it was really kind of like being an only child in a way. Yeah. So I get that. It's interesting, and that alone time is actually it's like a therapy.
Oh my gosh, it's so
right?
It's so
It's like a therapy.
I have this committee in my head going on. I'm just like, why are you people trying to talk to me? I'm having conversations here, and it's important. Like, this is good stuff.
Right. This committee is taking over.
It's taking over. I want to hear what they're saying because it's good, you know.
So you had your first child at how old?
I was 18.
18 years old. Then you got married.
No, then I had my second daughter, Alyssa, and then we got married. And then, you know, we were young. It was rocky. You know, it didn't work out. But I was working for a company. They were doing collections, and I was really good at it.
Now, was this still in New Mexico?
This was still in New Mexico, and I was really good at it, and I loved it. And so that company actually moved me here. And they made me an offer I couldn't refuse because I also love Disneyland and the beach and the ocean and all that stuff. And so they were like, you know, we'll move you here. How can I say no? You know, so we ended up moving here, and then it didn't work out. You know, my marriage broke apart or whatever. And then I was faced with this: what am I going to do? Am I going to go back to New Mexico where all my family is? That's my comfort zone. That's my safety.
Two little babies.
And I have 2 little girls. What am I going to do?
Let me ask you this. Let's go back a little bit because I love to get people like in that mindset, in that paradigm. So you're in your 20s. You have 2 little girls. You're married. You things are not going all that smooth, right? So you could probably see the the forest through the trees, right? Where were you? Where were the fear barriers that you had to conquer? Let's talk about that because I'm sure there were plenty.
There were. Wow. Yeah, there was a lot. I mean, one, I'm now in California with no family or anybody around me, so I had nowhere that I could easily check out to or run to.
Right.
I have these 2 little girls with these big eyes just looking at me.
Right. Mommy, mommy, right?
What are we going to do?
Right.
What are we going to eat? How are we going to live? And honestly, even though there was fear there, my faith really pulled me through.
Okay.
So I remember one specific day where we were alone and I sat my daughters down and we were at the kitchen table and I'm just like, I don't know how we're going to make it through the month. I have no idea, but we're going to do it. And I just realized that the how wasn't important to me. The destination was. And I was committed. I didn't know how. In fact, I could not see how that was even possible. But I knew that the possibility and what was coming was outside of my radar screen. So, you know.
Where did that belief come from?
I think just being born and raised in church and going to church, and I have a really close relationship with God, and in many of the things that I would see my parents going through, they would show me their faith. And I just realized that I was safe. And I mean, at the end of the day, what's going to happen? Okay, I would go back to New Mexico, or I'm not going to die.
Right.
I mean, eventually I am, but
But no, in that moment to get through that's important to know, right? And that's important for people to understand that at the end of the day, most cases are not life and death, right? And whatever your belief is, whether it's religious, whether it's spiritual, whether it's both, whatever that is, right? That's gonna get you through. That's what you have to hold on to, and look, at the end of the day, it all goes back to your why. Your 2 little girls were your why, right? So you didn't worry about the how as much, and you focused on the why. That kept you in that energy. And the other cool thing is the modeling. See, her parents showed her that it is going to be okay, and again, modeling is so big and so important.
It is so key. In fact, my mother was the type that always, since I was a little girl, told me, you can do anything. Okay. If you want to be president, you can be president. If you want to be an astronaut, you can be an astronaut. I don't care what it is. My mother is my biggest cheerleader. Right. I don't care what new project I'm up to. She's the one that's like, go, you can do it, you can do it. And that really gave me the strength. And I'm the type of person that I'm a little rebellious,
Right. And I can see that twinkle.
Yeah.
I see it.
I'm the type of person that I will jump and have my parachute on the way down.
Right.
Because then I can figure it out. So I was like, okay, I don't know, we're going to figure it out.
Right.
And fast forward all these, 15, 16 years, I'm looking back like, okay, I could not see how in the world I could possibly figure it out, but I did. And it's, I was talking to Tiffany earlier, and I was, remembering that Martin Luther King, when he said you don't have to see the whole staircase.
Yes, just the next step.
And if you remember, Indiana Jones, right? When he did that, I forget which episode it was or what movie it was, but he did that walk of faith, and he remembered, and he just took that first step, and that like beam was there right for him to take that step, and that's what I did.
Yeah. And that's what people have to understand is you're not going to be able to see that whole staircase. You're not supposed to see that whole staircase. Right. That's part of life. That's part of the journey. Yes. And one of my mentors told me a long time ago, and it stuck with me because I'm the same way. I jump off that cliff and build a plane on the way down as well a lot of times, right? And it's come back and bit me, yeah. and then there's times where I flew. And he said, life is about perception, and you have the decision to make. You have a choice. You can look at this as a fear of the unknown, entering into the darkness, and you're not sure where this is going to end, or you can simply look at this as an adventure.
Absolutely.
And that connected with my DNA, that connected with me, and I've taken that with me. So, yeah, I get it.
Well, and it's exciting to live that way because there's, the thing that I've loved about science and stuff like that is that there are natural laws that we're operating with, and when you really have a committed idea in your head, you'll figure it out. You'll make it work, and if you're really determined to make something work, no matter what it is, your fear will show up. It's a natural emotion.
Yes.
But it doesn't have to stop you. I've learned to take my fear and I kind of like, get it by the arm, and I'm like, all right, let's go. But sometimes I need to be like, shut up, Stop telling me what to do. Like, I'm not listening to you, and I'll do something anyway. And then sometimes I need to pay attention because I'm just like, okay.
But the most important point that I want to highlight is what you said. And this is what I preach, if you will. I hate to use that word, but this is what I fear is a natural feeling, just like you said. So, one of the chapters in my book is fearless is bullshit, because it truly is. Because when you buy into that fearless, it's not real. So now what happens is you think you're doing something wrong because you're feeling the fear. Well, that's what you're supposed to fear. It's about being courageous, right? That 3-letter word, core, that comes from the inside. That's courageous, is doing it with the fear. And that's exactly what you're saying. And I love that. And I love that you talked about that because it's everything, right? I bought into that years ago. And I would say to myself, well, why am I feeling scared? There must be something wrong, right? And it's actually not, right? It's a natural feeling. And then once you can, I want your take on that. Once you can wrap your brain around that, accept that, now that can become your internal flame, right? Instead of letting that back you away, and I always call the fear barriers our ultimate bullies in life. And how do you stop a bully? You step up.
You step up.
You have to get your lunch money back, right?
You do.
Right?
No, you do.
Right.
And when you step up to that bully,
I love that.
That bully is in check.
I love that.
That bully is now afraid of you.
Yes, right. Because you just faced it. And look, at the end of the day, the definition of a bully, whether it's a physical person or that fear barrier, is fear, is insecurity. That bully is insecure that you're going to find out that there's nothing behind it. Exactly. It's just a facade, right? It's that movie set,
It's ego.
Yes. But where's ego come from? Fear.
Fear.
Of not having enough.
Or being wrong, or being bad, or being laughed at. And at some point, you have to get to the point where you're just like, who cares?
Right. Right.
I've learned, my fear has not gone away. I've just learned to make friends with it.
Yeah.
And there are some times that if something is making me feel fearful, and I know that I'm on the right path, and that's where I need to go.
Yes.
And then there's something amazing at the other end of it, and I feel bigger, better, more powerful because I faced it. I didn't become a coward, and I have done that before too, where I'm just like, no, I'm so scared. I don't want to do something, and then I don't get results, and I stay small, and that feels bad.
Yes.
But then when I really face it, and then this fear is now little, and I feel big, it's like David and Goliath.
Yes.
It's just like,
you
have this big mount, this big giant in front of you, and you can conquer it. And you believe in yourself.
And not only that, right? Let's go even a little deeper with them, right? I always say action is fear's kryptonite. So when you're taking action, right, that all of a sudden, massive effective action, let's be real, right? The people and the circumstances come into your life to start to make it happen. You know, it's like
It's so weird, but it does.
it's amazing what that does. But so many people won't even take that action, right? And I think one of the things that can help, and you what your thought on this is, it goes for me. So let me put it this way. So if you're going to say to me, you know what, I want to do this, I want to build this business, or whatever that is, I want to get into shape, but I don't feel comfortable going in the gym, whatever that is. And if you have that big stopper, I think one of the catapults that's going to pull you through besides your why is the modeling. So find somebody that's been there and done it, and then let them help pull you through. You know, because now you really have a roadmap, right? That you can, and obviously we'll cut down some of the mistakes and time, right?
Yeah, and people need people.
Right.
And we all go through situations and circumstances for a reason, because we can help other people really face their fears. When I've met with people and I told them I was so scared of this and I did it anyways, they all of a sudden have the courage to do it themselves.
Yes.
But if I'm not doing anything about my fear and I'm not taking on my life, then, you know, I'm not really being in service or even of value. I still have value, but I'm not giving to. And life is all about, I mean, if you look at plants and the flowers, it's always growing and it's giving oxygen or beauty or whatever. And, you know, we're alive and we need to face our fears, because 100% of every single person I've ever coached, I mean, from teenagers to multi-millionaires to, you know, men that are biker gangs to like anything, everybody has fear and everybody has shit in life that they have to deal with. Everybody has something they're afraid of, and when you face that and you move forward, you're more powerful and you're giving to the universe, because when you're allowing that, other people around you all of a sudden start saying, okay, well, if she could do it or if he can do it, you know, maybe I can do it. Well, yeah, you can do it.
No, and I love that. And I you know, because of the show, there's a lot of people, there's people that want to come on, but they won't commit because they're afraid, right? They're afraid of the camera, they're afraid of their story. And I always say, you know, your story's not about you. Your story, you made it through, you were tough enough to make it through. Now your story is really about that other person that you could potentially help. And it's your obligation now to share that story. And that's what I love. I love that you went there.
And I love that. You say something about our story.
Sure, yeah.
Right, because your story is made up. It's made up in your head. You go through life and you have these experiences and these events. Well, these events are just events. They're just situations that have happened, but in this event, we've made something up about ourselves, like I'm not good enough, or, you know, no man will ever love me because my father ran out, or, you know, my mom wasn't there, or I was bullied, and so we make up this story, and then we go through life, and we keep looking for evidence to prove that story right. Our ego, right? Our ego's right about that I'm not enough, so then we go through life, and we have a flat tire, and we're like, you see, I'm not good enough, you know, I got this flat tire, it sucks. No, you just got a flat tire. Yeah. That's it. So we go through life and we make up the story, but the story's made up. And there are people that have had, I mean, horrific things happen to them that come out and they're just like giving to the world. And they're just like, what I learned in this is that. And, you know, I'm amazing and you're amazing. How do they do that? And then you have other people that are, you know, born in this like perfect home, and one little things go bad and they're in depression. But it's all in our head. Your story, you're telling yourself this story, and you can recreate that story at any time. You can't change 100%. The event from occurring, but you can change the story that you're telling about yourself, and even about that event. Because even that event, let's say your dad walked out on your mom and you and 12 other brothers and sisters, that wasn't even about you, that was him. Right. You know? Right. So, you know, you gotta be careful of that too, because people are still like, I'm so scared of my story, but your story's not you. That's just. It's not, and it's not about you. It's not you, and it's not about you. Right? It's about helping that someone else,
and
has its purpose.
Absolutely, 100%. That's and you know when you gave the example of that, of the person that's in that perfect, well, we know there's no perfect home, right? But what we perceive as the perfect home, and then the one that went through that struggle and then came out on the other end much stronger, because at the end of the day, nature tells us, right, that struggle equals strength. And if you're not sure about that, just watch a mom bird. Watch her baby try and break out of that shell when that mom bird can go help that baby anytime it wants. But nature, right, already instills in it that you need to be strong enough to get through that shell in order to survive.
There's example over example. I mean, the butterfly.
Yes.
Breaking through that cocoon, right? There's a story of someone that actually cut the cocoon open and then the butterfly died. Well, it needed to actually go through that struggle so that the fluid can go through the wings so that it can fly. You look at birth, right? My daughter just, I have my first grandson.
Oh, congratulations. Grandma, are you kidding me? Look at her.
I'm so happy about it. I love it. I'm a proud grandma. I'm a granny, okay? And seeing the pain that she was going through and all that, it gave her this even just different perspective. She was just like, Mom, I so appreciate you. Like, thank you. I'm like, yeah, you don't even know.
The relationship changed.
The relationship changed, but all these things, I mean, people avoid pain, and there is so much value in pain. You cannot grow without it, right? I mean, you work out. You go to the gym and you go home and you're sore. That's a good thing.
And you're growing.
You're growing.
You're growing.
You're improving.
You just tore down, so now it has to grow back stronger.
Right. People are so afraid of this pain and going through struggles when it's necessary. It's a beautiful part of life. It's actually beautiful.
And not only that, it's more painful in the long run not to go through that struggle, because it's that person you become. So now, right, you go back into that safety, right, that we call safety. You stop growing. And my opinion, being on this earth 50 years, my opinion is, first of all, the word depression is thrown around like, peanut butter, right? Yeah. And a lot of people attach to that word, not really truly understanding that they don't have it. I believe a lot of people think that they have depression and they go and look for other outlets that might be toxic. But what it really boils down to, when you audit their life, they never were able to break through those major fear barriers. So when you go back into safety, you stop growing. When you stop growing, now naturally, right, because we're built to grow, evolve, and move forward, we're looking for those outlets, right, to make us escape or feel better, or a combination of both. And the human race, sometimes it goes to the toxic,
because then now they're dealing with guilt and what if and what could have been.
All the baggage, right? All the baggage.
Bully in the head. That
love
bully,
it.
That's just,
look at that. That's it. That's awesome, and it is. It's a bully. So, so you went through the divorce. You're raising your two little girls. You knew you were going to stay in Southern California. And why wouldn't you? I mean, this is I'm a kid from Jersey.
I'm in Orange. You know what that means, right?
What?
That I'm spoiled.
Southern California. That's right. And if you told me you were born and raised here, right? Then I would call you spoiled. But how long have you been here?
16, 17,
okay,
17 years.
Hey, you want to know something? So I've been here since 2008, and when people ask me to come back east, I go, I'll wait till May.
Yeah, I know.
This is paradise.
I'm so grateful, and I have not yet taken it for granted. I am so happy and I'm so grateful to be here. And everybody there's just so many different walks of life out here, and some are really successful, some are just struggling. And, when you get to know people on a one-on-one basis, everybody's going through the same thing in life, and they are just genuinely wanting to be loved, wanting to be accepted. They're their own unique person, and they have so much to give. And some are, wanting to break through. Some are broken through. Some are, they don't know what, that they're magnificent. And it's just, I love it out here.
I love that energy. I love that energy. Before we move on, let me just see. Looks like we have some people jump on. Marion, do we have some people jump on?
Yeah, we have Rob Casey. He says they're in spirit, brother.
Hey, man, that's my boy. We got that photo shoot coming up, man. I'm excited. Anybody else, Marion?
Nicole Bodyguard, she goes, acknowledge the fear, but don't live there. That's the difference.
Beautiful. She had an awesome show about 2 weeks ago. Awesome stuff. Anybody else, Marion?
I've got some shout-outs, but I have a question.
Yeah.
Compared to courageous.
Yeah.
I'm addicted to change. Is that bad?
Addicted to change in what way? How would you describe that?
I love my life changing all the time. I like to experience new things. I'm open to the world.
Yes, it's Tiffany's saying number 5. I mean, my personal opinion, that's you're going with nature instead of going against nature. If you're embracing change and it's a healthy change, then I say run with it, because you're in the minority, not the majority. What do you think?
No, I think that's healthy. I think that's what we all need to want to get to, is embracing change, because life is always changing.
Right.
So, I mean, if you're addicted to change, then I think that's a really great place to be. And, you know, I want to get some coaching from you,
and
I get resistance.
And what do you think about this? And let's be clear, right? Because life is a dance, it's always moving in and out of form. And let's be clear too, as long as that change is a healthy intention, not running. See?
Oh, good point.
Right?
Yeah.
So there's times when people run,
right,
and they think that just by going across the country, that all of a sudden it won't find them,
right,
and they don't realize that,
but you can't hide.
You can't hide. So and what this also goes back to, Marion, is it all maps to this. It all maps to your own level of awareness, knowing who you are, because then you can actually audit in an accurate way. So if you don't really know who you are at this moment, how can you really answer that question, what we just asked? Are you running, or are you just looking for adventure? But you have to know yourself. I'd love to hear your take on level of awareness, your own self-awareness.
Yeah, I agree, because you have people that are very comfortable being who they are. They're the beautiful things about them, and their lines and wrinkles, and chunky spots on their body, or
right,
dorkiness or weirdness or whatever. And if you can embrace I don't want to call it negative, because it's not negative, but the nerd in you, then you know who you are. And if you're clear about that, and you're asking yourself the question, you got to be asking yourself, am I running, or am I just really evolving? Because you can say anything to anybody, and someone can believe whatever you're coming from, but you truly know. And if you know yourself, and you can't hide from yourself. Wherever they say, right, wherever you go, there you are.
There you go, right?
So,
right.
If you're running from something that you need to do, you'll know that, and you'll feel guilty and you feel bad, and you're just going to keep running. But if it's just like, wow, I'm growing and I'm evolving, and I'm moving up, and my life is changing, and you'll know that too. And that's a healthy place to be. If you're avoiding, if you're kind of living in a superficial type place where it's like, well, I gotta look good, I gotta have the new house, I gotta have the new car, that's not real. And it's okay to want things, that's a good thing. But if you're doing it for the purpose of pleasing other people, and it's not really, you're struggling, you're dead, you can't eat because, you need the new car, then that's unhealthy.
I love that, and I love that you went there. And let's go even a little deeper, right? And let's use this example, and I want your take on this. Is a great question, Marion. Thank you. Even if you see, I live my life with intention, right? If my intention is pure, and I use a word or a sentence that offends you, that's on you. I'm good, right? As long as my intention is pure. If my intention isn't pure, it's a whole other person. But I talk about intention, and what you just shared, I want to go a little bit deeper in, and I want your take on it. So let's give an example of somebody that is very, very interested in having the best car, the best house, the best things, and the best toys, right? But can still afford that. What I believe it comes down to, and I want your take on this, is again, the intention. So if the intention is that they want those things truly for themselves and not for somebody else, then I believe that's a good thing. When you want it for somebody else, it's a hole that can never be filled.
Absolutely.
What do you think?
I think that if you are good with or without those things,
I like that.
Then you're in a good place.
There you go.
Then have what you want.
There you go.
Because even when it's not there anymore, you're still going to be good. And you're going to be a positive role model for other people in life.
I love that. And let's do this, right? Because this just came to me, and we got to do this, right?
Yeah.
For you spiritual warriors out there that think that it's a bad thing to want things and be successful, I'm going to refer back to the Oprah Winfrey interview I saw years ago, when the guy said to her, and I can tell by her facial expressions that it wasn't one of the questions on the list, right?
Okay.
And he said to her, right? He says to her, "You ever feel guilty or embarrassed about the level of success you had?" She sat back for a second, like a split second. I love her, right? She came right at him and said, "Absolutely not." She said, "Number one, I earned it." But she said, "Number two, if I didn't build the level of success I have, I wouldn't be able to build a college in Africa. I wouldn't be able to give what I can give. I wouldn't be able to help to the level I can help." And she says, "As a matter of fact, I'm looking to build it even bigger." And he just talked about being checked. But that's, honestly, to me, that's life.
Yeah.
That's why we're here.
I love
it's
that.
about abundance.
Yeah.
Right? I want you to take, and it also maps to your self-image. What you believe you're worthy of. So take it away, girl.
I love it. There's something that I would have added to that.
Go.
Right?
Go.
I would have said, no, of course not. But I would have said, do you feel guilty for you not achieving those things?
Love it.
Because you're just
Love
as
it.
capable
Love
as
it.
I am, as Oprah, as anybody else.
Right.
So what is it about you that's playing a small game?
Where is that block?
Right.
I love that.
So,
Great point.
where are you stopping?
Yeah.
Do you feel guilty about where you're stopping?
Right.
So, and not that anybody should feel guilty or not, but I mean, if you're not having those things, it's nobody's fault but your fault. It's not.
100, man.
Especially if you live in this country
Love that.
where this is the land of opportunity, right? You have people come from third world countries with $5 in their pocket, and they build a business because they come here with intention, they come here with a dream, and every single person on this land can do the exact same thing.
I love that. And let's really be clear, right? If you're born here, you're not. If you got here and you have the opportunity that we all have, you just pulled the lottery ticket, right?
Oh, yeah.
And when you look at it, and then let's talk about the immigrant, right?
Mm-hmm.
The immigrant mentality has the two most powerful things in our world, which is hunger and gratitude. And when you can combine those, they're so grateful to be here, right? And they're so hungry to move up. And when you can combine those two, there's nothing that can stop you.
And look at what they're based on results.
If it shows. Look at
I
it.
know. Based
Love
on
it.
results, it happens, and they're doing
Yes.
it. They have that hunger, they have that vision, and they have that die-hard, vision within them that nothing's going to stop them. They're not good at everything around them is telling them, no, you can't do it. You can't
Right.
do it. And they're just like, thanks for sharing. Thanks for sharing. You can sit down now because I'm doing it.
Exactly.
And they do it.
And the gratitude for being here, right?
Oh, yes.
Because there's times that we take for granted.
Oh, we
Look,
take for
it's
granted,
human. It's human nature, right? So it's so interesting how when they keep that combination, and all we have to do, right? All we have to do is adopt that. Just adopt that on a daily basis.
Right.
I love it.
Well, it's kind of, it's a beautiful thing to be born here, and it's almost kind of a curse because you take it for granted, and everything just comes so easily. And it's just like, you wake up in Orange County, and there's some people who are like, how are you doing today? I'm, good. Oh, I have nothing to complain about. No, we all have so much to complain about, but just don't.
Right.
Because really we shouldn't, but we can be like, oh, it's raining, and all this stuff, and to have that gratitude and to be so grateful for where you are, it's so easy to take that for granted when that's all you really know. That's the value of struggle, and that's the value of pain, is because you now, it's the yin and the yang. You have to know both. It's not, you see people, billionaires commit suicide.
Oh, it's so let's go here, right? And I want your take on this. So people always want to know, Davette, what is the definition of happiness and what is the definition of success? And let me share mine, and then I want yours. So I believe that the definition of success is living life on your terms, whatever that definition is.
Okay.
And I believe that the definition of happiness is fulfillment. When you're fulfilled, you're happy. And I believe, right, that billionaire that committed suicide, on the outside, it looks like he or she had everything, but for whatever reason, they weren't fulfilled.
Yeah, they're empty.
What's your take on that?
I completely agree. I think that, people are so focused outward, and they're not paying attention to what's inside, because on the inside, you're not really feeding your ego. Ego needs to be validated by everything outside of you. And I agree with your definitions. I mean, success to me is if you are happy, if you're able to do the things that you want to do, and you have opportunity and you're feeling good, you're successful. I mean, to some people, a successful day might be catching their favorite show with a glass of wine and, having alone time,
If that's your definition.
They're feeling,
right?
That's what they want.
Yes.
Then,
Truly.
They're feeling successful.
Exactly.
Happiness, it's a choice. There's a million things to feel good about. And if you really stop and you really have gratitude, you're going to be happy. You're going to be grateful that you have legs when some people have no legs.
Love that.
Other people are, in third world countries don't have the same opportunities that we have. And there's so much to be happy about. And it's really an internal, it's your choice to be happy. You can be happy even in difficult situations.
Yeah.
If you realize that pain, if we had the ability to fast forward in our life sometimes, and I've had, really terrible things happen that had that not happened, this crazy amazing thing would have happened.
Right.
And in the middle of that mud, of that terrible situation, if I only knew what was on the other end of that, oh my God, I'd be like splashing in the mud and like full of joy. And I think we need to live that way. You need to realize that those things, that pain right in your arms or your legs when you're working out, it's bringing about a result. And so you can have happiness in that situation if you understand that it's for a purpose, and outside of that is something better and bigger and more.
Love that. I
So
love
you
that.
can be happy in that negative situation.
I love that because, it goes back to perspective, right?
Absolutely.
What's your perception? And I had a show, I was in Vegas a few weeks ago and had a show with Amy Kardashian, not Kardashian, and she was born and raised in Syria. And she went through major, house got bombed, her brother got killed at 12 years old. She witnessed all that. And then she lived in a mountain with her 6-year-old little brother, living on pieces of bread, and her brother was going through the trash. So now fast forward the clock, she's in Las Vegas, and she's a young adult, and she's standing in a grocery store, and there's a line, right? And she's looking around, and people are they're just aggravated, and they're pissed off that they're in line, and she's looking around going, they have baskets of food, endless amounts of whatever they want, and they're not happy. And she went right back to being in that cave, being in that mountain for 3 months until she got reconnected with her family and protecting her brother at 12 years old, this little girl, right? Wow. And so when you, wow, exactly. Wow. And she's looking around at a basket full of food, and this lady just can't, she can't believe her life is this, right? Because she's standing in line. Now, look, let's face it. Exactly. But how, let's go here. You ready?
Yeah.
So, the people that are in a funk, the people that don't like their lives, the people that whine and bitch and moan and get in everyone's way, I always say, look, if you want to really get out of that, get outside your bubble. Mm-hmm. Go to that children's hospital. That 12-year-old little girl is fighting for her life for cancer and is the rock of her family. Go to a convalescent home. When they're 95 years old, their clock is over. They can't buy that time back, right? Get outside your bubble. Yeah. And I think that's the problem. And when I hear that story, that's what I love about Monster Motivator TV. Yeah. It's my oxygen. I love it. And when I hear a story like Amy, it's just, for me, it's beyond inspiring, and it's such a wake up. I'm literally listening to her tell her story. You know what's going through my head? I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed for what I was complaining about a day ago, right? 3 hours ago, a week ago. I'm embarrassed, And I think if you're not, when you hear those stories, if you're not you got way more issues than we can even help him with. How about that?
I agree. And you know what? And it's so weird because there's this thing about victimness that's addicting.
Love that you went there.
People are really addicted to being a victim. Because
Break that down.
Right? Okay.
I love that.
Well, and if you think about it, there's a part of victimness that actually feels good.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, oh my God, it's like life is hard. And then all of a sudden everybody's like, oh, I'm sorry. You know, and they're just listening. And, you know, then you're just telling your story and you're getting this attention. And then you have all these reasons why not, all your excuses as to why you're not playing big. And it gets addicting. And people live in that.
Ready? Because I want you to finish, but you ready?
Yeah.
We're going to drive this home unbelievable.
Awesome.
Not only are you, right, poor me, you're getting all this attention, but here's what's happening, right? You're attracting the people that are doing the same thing. So now you have this toxic cesspool, right, of where do you go from there? Right. So take it away, girl. I love that.
Yeah.
Love that. Victims never win.
No, and here's what I think kind of is going on with that too, is that people are going through life and they play this game of, I'll buy your bullshit if you buy mine.
Yes.
Right? I'm going to feed you all this and then you can feed me yours. Yeah. Instead of holding each other
accountable. And accountable.
And so, okay, this is happening. Awesome. How are you going to handle that?
Right.
Imagine you're like, I'm losing my house and I lost my job. Awesome. How are you going to handle that?
Right.
What's after that?
Right.
People would freak out, right? Like I've had people that I've worked with that, you know, they come with me and not to minimize their story or the hardship or the pain or anything like that, but I care enough about someone to be real and true.
Yes.
I care more about you winning than you liking me because I want you to win.
Love that.
So I know the victim story. I've had plenty, and I've had plenty of friends that are like, okay, awesome, great, well now what? Now what?
Right.
How are you going to handle that?
Now
what are you going to create? And it's kind of set me out of like, oh yeah. Okay, well, this person's not going to buy, you know, my story, so now I got to be powerful, and I like to hold people there.
Yes.
So, you know, as you're going through life and you're playing this, like, well, I'm going to, you know, this poor me thing, and then they feed you yours, so then now you have this big pity party, and people are, like, getting together, and, you know, you're complaining about your husbands, or you're, you know,
there's no more good guys left, there's no more good women, there's no this.
You know, it's so hard, and being a mom, and the kids, and you know, all this stuff, and it's just such a small way of, and it's BS.
It is. Come 100%. 100%. It's just an excuse, it's a crush, and excuses get in the way. And life says, we don't care. Life doesn't care. What have you done lately? What are you going to do tomorrow? Because yesterday's in the books, right? So that's what and I love that you went there about the coaching, because people ask me all the time, you know, are you a coach, are you a mentor? And I don't. That's just not in my world, because I become that football coach, right? I'm going to yell and scream at them because I don't have time. As soon as you come out with excuses, I don't know what happens, but I start to sneeze, my eyes water, I'm allergic to sneeze. I get allergic to it. It's like sleeves. I'm allergic to sleeves. I don't know what happens. My eyes water, I start to sneeze. So
they call it excuse-itis.
There you go. Right? Like that. Hey, girl. I'm gonna run with that. I like that. Because they get in the way, and for people that really want to make a difference in their world and somebody else's world, there's no time for that. Time is our biggest commodity, right? Because guess what? Tomorrow's not guaranteed, right? And today is all we have. And once today's done,
yesterday's gone,
right? Look, think about this, right? If we live a full life and we live into our 80s, 90s, close to 100, think about how, and the quality of life, think about how quick that's going to go. What happened to 2016? It's unbelievable. Isn't it?
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
You know, I see that in having my grandson, right? He was just born, but yet he's 10 months old.
Right.
And then I look at my daughters, and I'm just like, they're 21 and 25, but like, I swear I just had them maybe 3-5 years ago.
Unbelievable, isn't it? Yeah.
And it's just, it flies by, and it makes me realize, you know, I don't have a lot of time. I mean, the lie is that you have all the time in the world. But
no, it's a myth.
It's a myth.
And not only a myth, right? But I also say it's that black hole. It sucks people in, and it's a myth, and it's not right. It's not, and what happens is they stop living, right? Because there's a difference between living and existing, and there's a lot of people that exist, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, like that pillow exists,
right,
but it's not living.
Exactly, exactly. So I love that. So let's jump ahead now. So I want you to share what you're doing right now and all the things that you're doing. But before we do that, Marion, do we have anybody else jump on?
Yeah, Tom Lodegaard has a question that he'd like to hear more about. He goes, I'd like to hear a summary of what NLP is.
Awesome. Love that. Thank you, Tom. I'm glad you went there. Take it away, girl.
Yeah, NLP is so interesting. Again, going back to just really our mind and how it works and how we function. NLP is neuro-linguistic programming. Okay, so neuro meaning our mind, our thinking, our ways of thinking. Linguistic is really our internal and external language. Okay. You know, how we think, the words that we say, and the words that we speak. And then programming, or I like to even say pattern, neuro-linguistic patterning, it's the programming and the pattern, the habits that we create. So, you know, people don't realize how powerful our thoughts and especially our emotions are. And our emotions are, they come from our thoughts and the things that we tell ourselves. The law of attraction, for example, you know, you can sit and meditate on something and think, I want to make more money, I want to make more money. However, if you're thinking of making more money and you're feeling bad about it because you don't have it yet, it's that feeling that's actually creating that law of attraction of what you're going to bring to you. And that might be more or less money because that's what you're feeling. So neuro-linguistic programming, it uses a lot of modalities. So you're going to use a lot of, you know, sight, sound, smell, touches. If you have certain patterns that you want to change, then we'll figure out what that pattern is through just kind of an interview process and your way of thinking. Let's say maybe you're addicted to Dr. Pepper, right? And I have you think about Dr. Pepper. Are you addicted to Dr. Pepper?
No, okay. But I like that.
So,
okay.
You know, I say Dr. Pepper, and a couple of people right now would start, you know, they'll have this visual, and it'd say this Dr. Pepper is big in their face, and they see the bubbles, and they can smell it. They can probably even feel the bubbles sprinkling their face, and, you know, and it's kind of running over, and they have this, you know, colored picture. Well, if we can literally change that picture in your mind to something maybe you don't like. Maybe you don't like sour milk. And when you think of sour milk, it's black and white, and it's small, and it's way over there. And we can change the visual in your mind. It can help really change
the conditioning.
Yeah, absolutely. The patterning and the conditioning.
Love that.
Exactly.
Love
so
that.
it's just, you know, neuro-linguistic program is a little bit, NLP is a little bit kind of just mind trick. It's Jedi mind trick, you know.
Yeah.
Just like,
right? Star Wars.
Yeah.
Anybody else, Marion?
Yeah, Tiffany T. She's got, I love you guys. Davette, I am so proud of you and so grateful to have been best friends with you for going on 17 years.
Awesome.
The both of you kick ass.
Awesome. Right back at you, girl. And thank you for introducing me to this dynamic woman. Awesome show. Bringing the heat. Awesome. I love it.
Awesome.
Anybody else, man?
She's got episode number 100. Woo-hoo.
Yeah, look at that.
Woo-hoo! Congratulations
Look at that.
on
Thank you.
by the way.
Thank you.
I am honored.
100. Look at that.
That is amazing. That says a lot about you. And I want to, you know, really just take a quick second here and thank you for inviting me to be a part of this with you, because I get what you're up to. And it's not small time. It's a big time. Like, I don't think you'd fit in any box. I mean, you just, you know,
we're going to crush that box.
Like, breaks apart. And I'm really honored to be a part of this with you. And to be on number 100 show, that's pretty rad.
Everything happens for a reason, and thank you so much. And I love this, you know, this interaction, and I love to get really deep. So
I love
it becomes my oxygen.
Yeah.
As you can tell. Anybody else, Marion?
Tiffany Teagan gave him stuff because he's on fire for living his purpose and passion. He's the real deal.
Tiffany.
And she also,
Go ahead.
She also says to be sure to go to Davette's website. Go there. She is amazing.
Awesome, man. And as you guys know, when we jump off and we reshare this, Davette will be able to jump back on, reconnect with everyone, share all her contact information, and reconnect with everyone. So, and I want to thank the people that are jumping on tonight. Anybody else, Mary?
Shane the Train.
There he is. My man Shane from Philly. Love you, man. Love you, brother. Thank you for jumping on. Thank you for taking the time. And guys, make sure you're sharing this episode. Let's see some hearts and see some thumbs up. This girl is really bringing the heat. And please reach out, introduce yourself, and anything that she can help you with, that's what she does. This is her world. This is her life. This is her oxygen.
Oh, yeah. It is.
I love it. Anybody else, Mary?
Shout outs from Rob Casey and Joey Giggle.
Joey from New York. What's up, my man? Thank you, brother. We're going to be jumping. We're going to get that podcast back to get on Monday nights, the first of the year. I'm excited. Have a great holiday. Thank you for jumping on. And Joey, connect with Davette. You guys have a lot in common and a lot of. I'd love to have you on his show, the podcast show,
awesome.
and share your story. And I want to connect you with a bunch of people that have podcasts and get that story out there because you have a lot of value. And what I love about it is you're the majority, not the minority, in the fact that where you're at in life, but you're the minority because of what you're doing.
Yes.
Right? With the circumstances, with the life, right? So those single moms or those guys that want to get out of that 9 to 5 or whatever that fear is, or that girl that doesn't feel like she belongs in the gym, right? She feels like she's an outcast.
Right.
That's who you speak to, and that's what I love about it, and that's why I'm excited to have you.
Cool.
Anybody else, Mary?
Just on the shout outs is that there's the Troy Flora.
Okay.
And then we got Bradley J.
Okay.
Ruby Nunes.
All right, Ruby, thank you, girl. Thank you for jumping on.
And Susan Potter.
Awesome.
And you let's see, how am I going to say this? UNZ. Sorry.
All right. Thank you guys so much for jumping on. Now, what I want to do is I want you to share what's going on in your world now.
Awesome.
Where you at? And also, where do you see yourself?
Okay, wonderful. Well, aside from being a grandmother, it's like kind of my favorite thing right now.
That's awesome.
I'm so in love and so intrigued by it because I'm seeing this new little life that's so curious. And I am telling you, he's, probably this big and he's the boss. Like, I'm so intrigued that what he wants, he gets. He is so clear about what he wants to reach for, what he wants to do, and we're like all on
jumping through hoops, right?
How do you do that, right? He doesn't have the ego developed yet to be like, oh, I can't do that. He's just like, no, this is happening, and
love it.
He'll scream until it happens. Imagine if we lived like that. If we were like, I want this to happen, and I don't care what fuss I have to make, this is happening.
Now, do you see? I'm curious, right? What type of different perspective do you have now with your grandson than when you had, or do you, when you had your daughters?
Oh, so much. I had my daughter so young, so the maturity level is certainly different. I value the time a lot more, and I'm much more, I see how valuable that time is. So I like to put a lot of time in just, in teaching him things and giving him the experiences and just loving on him. But it's a different maturity level.
And a different perspective, right?
And it's a different perspective because I at that young age, even though I was ready to be a mom, I was never like just this big party or anything like that. I was like so on to be a mom and stuff. But the perspective though is like just the curiosity in him. It just makes me so curious to just see the challenges and like what he does and like his development. Just this human, we're like, who are you? Where did you come from?
And his curiosity, right? Because everything's new. Everything's new.
And he's just like this and that, and and he'll bump his head and he growls a lot. He's such a boy, but
yeah, we're gonna do the Monster Motivator roar with him.
Yeah. He's just growling and
boy.
he'll bump his head and
I love
just
it.
like
I
doesn't
love it.
stop him.
I love it.
and it's amazing to watch. So that is kind of like such a highlight for me. But so right now I am a certified clinical hypnotherapist. Okay, I love hypnosis. I love hypnotherapy. I love the conscious and the subconscious mind. Right, and to define that just a little bit, if you picture an iceberg, right, you see the top of the iceberg above the water, and it's this little thing of ice. That's like your conscious mind. That's the thinking, logical, judgmental, right and wrong.
Can accept or reject.
Accept, reject. It judges. That's the part of your mind that is constantly going. However, that part of your mind can only take in 6 to 9 bits per second, right? And then you have this body of water. And this body of water is what like they would call your critical faculty. So these are the things that like when new ideas come in, it kind of bounces off the water. And if it's, if your mind accepts it, it'll accept it. And if not, it'll be bounced back. Then under that is this huge big iceberg. That's your subconscious mind, and that's where you operate from. That's your belief system. This is where change is actually made, is on that subconscious. Your experiences and the stories you told yourself about yourself, and whatever. If your dad said you weren't going to amount to nothing more than a pile of beans or something like that, that is stored in that subconscious mind. So change is made at the subconscious level. And so with hypnosis, all it is relaxation, visualization, and imagination. So, if you can get relaxed and, the conscious mind can just stop judging for a minute, and you can get relaxed, and we can actually make changes on the subconscious level so that you now feel beautiful, or you feel worthy, or you have a different relationship with your fear. So I love doing that. We talked a little bit about NLP. I'm an NLP practitioner, and so there's various techniques for various habits and different things and phobias. I'm also an EFT practitioner. That's emotional freedom technique, and that's the tapping technique, which is completely fascinating because as you're having your thoughts and your feelings. Well, the thoughts and feelings that feel good and that are positive, they're actually a lighter vibration, right? Everything's vibration, right?
Yes.
And you know that because when you think something scary, you actually literally feel it in your stomach.
Yeah, like
right?
if you're watching a movie.
Yeah, and you have all this, emotions, and you literally feel it. You literally just had goosebumps, right?
Yes,
a thought caused the goosebumps.
That reaction.
So positive, good thoughts and feelings, they're lightweight, so they're more flowy. Negative, painful experiences, they're thicker, so they vibrate at a slower vibration. And the thing is that they don't leave your body easily, so they get stuck in your body, and then they will manifest into maybe hold stress here, feel it here, or in your temples, or your sciatic nerve, or back pain.
Okay.
They say back pain lasting longer than 6 to 8 weeks is emotional.
Wow.
So there's some sort of, maybe you got in a car accident and you're still carrying that, like, I'm going to die and feeling
that trauma.
Or that trauma. You're still holding that, and you're carrying it in your back. So EFT, or emotional freedom technique, is so powerful. So you basically you focus on the emotion or maybe the event, and then you go through just various tapping techniques on certain meridian points on your body, and it helps to just break it up and release it. And it's really amazing for emotional and physical pain.
Wow.
And the other thing that I'm completely passionate about, and it's probably my favorite thing, is numerology.
I heard about that.
So fascinated with numerology.
Yes.
And I literally have to thank Tiffany for introducing it to me like 16 years ago. And I'm always open to everything. Like I said, I went to Christian school. I'm a Christian.
Right.
So I go to church every Sunday. I personally believe in the Bible and the Word of God and stuff.
Sure.
And that's how I live. So when I was introduced to, I take everything in. I'm too curious about too many things. I am a cat, so I'm such a kid, and you don't even know. So luckily I have 9 lives. I think I have more than that. But so I tried it on, and I started realizing numerology is used throughout the Bible. And there was many times that God would change a person's name when He would set them off on a different mission. Even sometimes just the spelling of their name. Or someone was going to be born and he would say, you shall call him that. Like, and then I started thinking, why is that even important? It says a good name is rather to be chosen than great riches. And I always thought, well, it's good to have a good name for yourself. But I've come to understand it a little differently, is that like that name literally has an effect of your destiny and your thoughts, your emotion. Numerology is literally your blueprint. It's kind of like your map, your territory. It's basically the language of numbers and how it relates to everything. And I've studied it and I've tested it for so many years that I actually use it in my therapy, or even if I did collections.
Right. You were telling me about
many
that.
years, right? And it's so funny because I made friends through collections.
Wow.
I actually have personal friends. Last year I went to a friend's wedding that
you were
I
for a
collected.
collection.
So I've had friends that way, but I would do their numerology, and so then I would get, okay, so this person, it gives me really their core, their blueprint of their motivating factors. So if someone is struggling with something, I know exactly their primary addiction and what that antidote is. And so then I use that in my therapy, and I say, okay, so if this person is addicted to this feeling or this emotion, how do I give them that in a different perspective? So I changed kind of their paradigm so that now they see, but it feels so good to eat these cookies, but I want to lose weight. Well, now listen, oh my gosh, it feels so good to be in control. So I give them that emotion like in a different way.
And you do a 180 with that paradigm.
Exactly.
Yes.
So
love that.
I love numerology. It's just so fun, and it's kind of a new science. And then, I get asked a lot too, because people say, well, you're a Christian, and how does, hypnosis, and how does, numerology and all this stuff fit in? It's science. And what it's done for me is it has just shown me the beautiful design. And if there's a design, right, there's a designer. And there's just natural laws. You don't have to believe in these laws in order for them to work. Yep. Right? You don't have to believe in gravity.
Exactly.
If you step off a cliff, you're going down. You're going down.
Good or bad.
Good or bad.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Yes.
It doesn't matter if you're male, female, rich, poor, whatever. I like these natural laws and just really how they fit in. And it all confirms, with me, with what I believe and with my faith. And I test it out. And it all just kind of fits in. So I take all that, and I I guess refer to myself more of a mental and emotional coach.
Okay.
So I'll do a really extensive interview with somebody, and we'll get to just really what their the symptoms are, what emotions are tied to those symptoms, and then what past events can they relate to, so we can do some tapping on those, and then really their belief system, so that we can, I'm not good enough, and we can change it to I'm complete in my incompleteness. So they can have a different perspective on themselves and on life, and then start really attracting, what they want in their life.
A different reality.
A different reality.
Right? Because and I always say, I love to say this too, is when we're talking about the law of attraction, when we're talking about energy, when we're talking about vibration, this isn't the Easter Bunny, this Santa Claus, and this fairy dust. Quantum physics tells us that it's real. So again, both perspectives, right? So the theologist, right, tells us.
And what you're thinking, if you're thinking your husband's a total jerk, guess what? That's all you're going to see.
Right.
And you're going to miss the times that he brought you food. You're going to miss the sweet thing that he said, because you're so focused on the fact that he's a jerk. Well, guess what? He probably is, because we all are. We all have our good and our bad. But what you focus on is what's you're going to manifest more out of.
I love that, and also we always hear the people that are in the victim mentality, they can't wait to tell you about how bad their childhood was because of their parents or grandparents or coaches or teachers. And I always say, well, at the end of the day, all of us can only operate to our own level of awareness. So it's not condoning, right? But the bottom line, if your dad was a bad guy and didn't do the right thing, the reality is he could still only operate to his own level of awareness. It doesn't give him a pass. It doesn't say it's okay. It doesn't, or I should say, it doesn't say it's right. But then what that does is now that takes that victim mentality off of you. It clears your plate if you're willing, and now you can move forward. But again, it goes. I love what you said about it. It goes back to that addiction.
Yeah.
Right. So even though you could say that to somebody, they still might say no, because they want that addiction. They want to be fed that toxic food.
You know, and it's just like any other addiction. Some people are addicted to their pride.
Yeah.
Some people, they're addicted to anger. Some are addicted to control. Some to just feeling good. Some are addicted to being lazy. And so their life, without realizing it, keeps feeding that addiction sometimes in unhealthy ways.
Right.
And so, you know, I like to break it down to find what that root is. And it so weirdly makes sense and all the other things. And so,
doesn't it?
It so does.
It maps to the real world. Marion, you're getting a lot of background noise.
No, I'm not, but Tom's got another comment here.
All right. Okay.
Tom, it says Tom again. I've got a lifetime of negative conditioning I want to unlearn. I'm totally open to it. Let's talk.
Well, first of all, and then let me jump in, and I want you to I mean, it's, again, what is your conditioning? What are you telling yourself? And what he just told us is what he's telling himself over and over about, you know, it's the old saying, right? We can have, Marion, there's a lot of background noise where you're at. Are you able to put it on mute?
I have nothing on.
Okay, there's just a lot of background noise. Okay, is that conditioning, and I know you hear this all the time, right? You ask somebody what they want, and they stumble, and they look at you, and they're trying to figure out what that is. But if you ask them what they don't want, they're going to give you that laundry list. Yeah. So write that down, draw a line, and do the polar opposite, and then throw that left-hand list out. But I want you to jump in with Tom, because I'm interested in this perspective.
Yeah, because, you know, first of all, Tom, you know, the very first thing I would say is just notice how you phrase that.
Yes.
Because whatever it is that you're saying is what's going to be true, because that's how the universe, that's how God created the universe. It operates that way, that what you say is what is going to keep happening. So first thing is that I would invite you to say the opposite of, you know, I'm excited about changing my perspective and looking at things positive. And that might feel even a little uncomfortable. And if it does, then that's a good thing.
Right.
Start there, and then, you know, take notice of the emotions that you're feeling. So if you're feeling, you know, I really want this promotion at work, but I keep having all these negative experiences, and what that feels like. So you're thinking, I want a promotion, but then you're feeling bad. You're not going to be able to create that promotion. You need to look at that promotion as if it's a present under the tree and tomorrow is Christmas morning. And you are so excited and you are feeling so good. And that's the key, is that it's not just what you're thinking you want, it's how you're feeling, because your feeling is really what's that vibrational frequency that's leading you, and that's what's going to match to it. So there's some work that we can do, and I would love to talk with you more about it, but one huge thing is changing the language. And instead of confirming what you don't want, you know, get a little uncomfortable and feel the feeling of excitement of what you do want. Even just pretend. Let's say it's not, you know, whatever's not going to happen, but just pretend that it's going to happen, and you'll start practicing that feeling. Because how people create things in their life, like, you don't go out, you know, saying, I'm going to create this new company, feeling bad. You go out with this hungry, like, oh my God, I can't wait, and I'm so excited, it's going to be so good, and what am I going to do? Who am I going to invite, and how's this going to work? And if there's something you're creating in your life, you have to feel that feeling of excitement.
Yes.
Not the feeling of, but everything else has failed. You want to feel that, because then that's what's going to happen, because your subconscious mind is going to make you right.
Yes. It's going to become your reality.
It's going to become
your reality. And I love that, you know, thoughts, feelings, action create your results every single time. No matter how you break it down, you're going to go through that system every time in life. And feelings, like you said, they become the pilot, right? They become that vehicle to get you where you're going, whether you want to be there or you don't. And
they
I
start
love
that action. Have you heard of the water experiments by Dr. Masaru Emoto?
No.
Okay, this is so cool. This is a Japanese scientist, right? And he recently passed away, so God, you know, bless him and rest him.
Okay.
But he did these experiments on water, and on water crystals. And so, you know, they get this water and they put it in container that they would freeze, and they would put words on it like love, happiness, joy, peace, and then they would freeze that, and then they would test the ice crystals, and it was this really specific and intense testing because the ice would melt and stuff like that. So they would test the ice crystals, and then they would take the same water, and then they would put it in the same jar, and then they would label it differently, like hate, die, death, ugly, stupid, right? And they would compare the two. And you can look this up on the internet, and I have a book of all his experiments and all the pictures. Every single time the positive intention created beautiful crystals. They came out, those little snowflakes, they came out beautiful. And every single time the negative intention and emotion, the growth was stunted, or it was horrible, or you can even tell that it was an ice crystal. And we're 75%, 80% water, and so our thoughts can literally affect the molecular structure of water.
Yes.
Think about what it's doing, to us and really our universe, because there's just so much water around, and so our thoughts are creating that. There's experiments that kids will do in middle school or high school on plants, or I've seen rice where, let's say, two plants, one, they'll get the same plant from the same store, but one, they'll water it, but they'll kind of talk to it, and they'll say, you're beautiful, and I love you, whatever, and then the other one, they'll ignore it, they'll put it, aside, they'll reject it. It won't grow. It'll actually start dying off, or it'll barely grow, and the other one will grow so beautiful. And so there's so many of these experiences out there that it's science. You can't deny it. It proves that our thoughts and our feelings, our intention behind what we're doing, it literally manifests. It affects. And that's the other thing that people do not realize, cause and effect.
Yes.
We are at cause. And so if you look at your life and it's not exactly what you want it to be, that's okay. Because the good news is that you caused it, but don't beat yourself up about it. The good news is that you can cause something different.
You can change
it. You can completely change it.
You're the pilot. Yes, I love it.
You're in the driver's seat.
Yes, I love
and
it.
So you're either living at cause or you're living at effect. And so if you're on the victim side of it, then you're being affected by things. But when you really step into, I'm at cause, what am I committed to creating in my life? What am I going to cause? Like right now, just being here, we're at cause of something. Mm-hmm. People watching, or just, our interaction, just being here in the city and having, excited feelings is causing a move in vibration. And so I think everything really, I really try to get people that I work with to understand cause and effect and really what they're causing. And so, be careful with the language that you're saying, because
it's your reality. It becomes your reality. And we'll even go in a deeper but in a different direction too, is I always say that the greatest gift that an adult, parent, grandparent, teacher, coach can give a child is a bulletproof self-image. Mm-hmm. And how do you do that? By that positive reinforcement, right? That building up. Like the first thing you talked about, right, was your mom. And how she gave you that positive reinforcement, and how you still carry that with you, right? But it could be the other way, right? It could be the other way. But when you became that adult, even if it was the other way, it's still love it. Yep.
Yeah,
there's no free tickets.
Where you're responsible.
Yes.
And I'll tell you what, unless you're, Tarzan and you're raised by monkeys, you're going to hear that there's better ways of thinking and there's better, chances of life. If you're a parent, it is your responsibility to tell your kids how magnificent they are. And guess what? Life isn't always fair, but you're magnificent and you're wonderful and you can still do it. And you're still responsible for being fair.
Yes.
Life might not be fair to you, but you still have to be a good person and be fair. And, downfalls are okay. You're going to fall, you got to fall off the bike a couple of times so that you can learn the balance. You got to get your heart broken so that you know what it feels like to be loved. And, you have to give your children that positive reinforcement and self-esteem, and let them know that they're uniquely made and they're amazing and they're wonderful. Even, sometimes, you might not like your kids, because I've been there where I'm just like, I don't like you right now,
Exactly.
But I still love you.
Of course.
And I'm going to, take care of you, and, but you have to do that. Oh my gosh, because you're that's a different thing too with my grandson, that I'm just like, there's sometimes I'm putting him to sleep and I'm whispering in his ear and I'm just like, you're amazing, you're powerful, you're strong, you're wonderful.
That's the greatest gift and you can give that child. And make no mistake, how old is he?
10 months.
10 months old. That subconscious is open like a sponge. What you tell him, he believes at this point in his life, correct?
He is receiving it,
yes.
and he might not consciously understand the words, but he's feeling it. He's
the energy, it's the vibration,
absolutely.
Right? It all goes back. And again, do some reading on quantum physics. This is not fairy dust stuff here. This is real stuff. And do your homework.
It's the quantum physics for a lot of people is the I don't know what I don't know, right? Like we know what we know. I know how to drive a car,
right?
And then we know what we don't know. I know that I don't know how to fly a jet, right? And then there's the I don't know what I don't know. So there's this whole other world of I don't know that even this exists or that.
Or like a great example, right? We're in benefit of electric, but I can't tell you how that electric really works, how that light switch, I know that there's wires connected, but I can't break that down to a level from the beginning, right? Luckily I don't need to, but
we can still benefit from it.
Exactly. So I think that's huge. Hopefully, Tom, you got some great gold nuggets out of that. Love that. Awesome stuff. Anybody else, Mary?
Just a shout out from Bertha, and I'll try to say Taurus.
Okay, awesome. Bertha, thank you so much for jumping on. And Tom, make sure that you connect with Davette. We're doing some things together. Tom was on the show. Awesome guy. And he's just looking to taking this in and just keeps wanting to grow, expand, and move forward. And him and his wife Nicole, awesome people. So you'll connect big time with them. So, is there anything that I didn't talk about that you want to mention? Do you want to talk about?
Actually, yeah. If you go to my website and subscribe to my mailing list, I would love to connect with you. I will be having some live events coming up.
Good.
I've connected with a superstar in Las Vegas, Nevada. His name is Christopher Cardillo, and he's amazing. He has some wonderful products that he is about to launch out there. We're going to do some live shows. I really look forward to getting that going. But I want to send positive. I like to send really cool, perspectives of my thoughts and stuff. Also, I have an app that you can download on your phone, and you can download that from my website, or you can go to the App Store and you can search under my name. It's under either just.
And you'll give them all the. Don't worry about missing this because you'll jump back on and give them all the links.
Okay, cool.
Right.
Yeah. So you download my app. So my app. You can actually. I have some hypnosis on there, meditations for like stress and anxiety that you can listen to, and really cool thing about it is that you can record your own affirmations. So it's really powerful to stay positive, but in your own voice is even 1,000 more times.
You're just talking about
powerful.
that. The one book that changed my life years ago was What to Say When You Talk to Yourself by Dr. Shad Helmstetter.
Awesome.
And I still use it on my phone. Yeah.
I love it.
Isn't it?
So
It's a whole other level, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, because it's one thing me talking you through something, which is powerful.
Sure.
But when you're hearing it in your own,
it's another level.
It's another level.
Yeah.
So you can
Love
actually
that.
check out my app.
I love that. I'm going to check that out.
Awesome.
That's awesome. Anything else that you want to touch on?
The only other thing is that I'd like to make a special offer.
Yeah, do it.
If you go to my website and you like what you've heard or you're interested in working with me, I'd love to give a special discount, really just to anybody and everybody that if you mention Dave Daley or the show, I'd love to give you half off of any of my services that you'd be interested in.
Awesome.
Right. It's this.
Business season, bro. Business season. So we end the show the same way every time.
Okay.
And I believe, and I can tell just by spending some time with you that you believe the same thing, that we can only be in one state of mind at a time. So if we are in that victim state, there's no room for that gratitude state,
Absolutely
right?
true.
Or vice versa. If you're in that gratitude state,
One or the other.
right, it just is no room at that moment. And if you could be, life always asks questions, right? And life says, Davette, if you could be in that unstoppable state the majority of your day, how great would that be?
That would be powerful and amazing.
That would be, would that be awesome?
Yes.
And life is saying right now, Davette, do you want to purr like a kitten or roar like a lion?
Well, I'm such a kitten on the
Okay.
inside,
Okay.
and I'm constantly purring because I'm so happy, but there's this lion in me that is just,
Love it.
yeah.
And I'm telling you, I see it in her eyes. She is not kidding. So on 3, are you familiar with the Monster Motivator roar?
Yes.
That a girl. So on 3, we're going to take them out with the best Monster Motivator roar. On 3. 1, 2, 3.